Dear students, I trust that all of you are taking sincere care of your health and study. It is a matter of relief on our part that despite all difficulties, you people are in constant touch with all of us. All the faculty members are trying to give you possible study materials to facilitate your preparation. And we people are constantly engaged with you in our online outreach initiative. As a part of my own contribution, this time I have selected a topic to give a presentation that is on Odisha economy in relation to India and major states. This is in MA final year syllabus in the paper Indian Economic Policy. We know that Odisha has drawn national attention on many aspects. Even during this Corona time, there is appreciation from media houses and some international bodies also on our adeptness in management of COVID-19 crisis. And we know Odisha is a leading example in disaster management. Not just in disaster management, in the last decade or two, the growth performance of the state has also drawn national attention. In social sector also, the state has performed to some extent. So when we are to make a discussion on Odisha economy in a comparative perspective, then where to start with? Let me begin with the official claim that Odisha has made some remarkable progress in recent times. Official claim means our government makes all sort of claims like this, that we are way ahead in maintaining our growth consistency, that too outpacing other states, and the decline in poverty is also much faster. So these are the claims in the official lines. And this claim or these set of claims have some substance also, because if we go back to the pre 2000 times, we started with a very low base. The per capita income of Odisha was one of the lowest in the country. And that saga continued up to 2002-03. To cite a fact, a figure, the annual average growth rate of Odisha's real gross state domestic product was 4.9% during 23 years. That is from 1980-81 to 2003-04. Whereas the annual average growth rate of the nation was about 6%. 1.1% lesser than the national average is not a smaller difference, not a small difference. However, the growth rate accelerated a bit since 2004-05. Let me share with you that that was a time in which the time means 1995 to 2004-5, there was a moratorium on recruitment because of the precarious position of the state government, state finances. Fiscal deficit was um, out of reach. There was high revenue deficit also. Situation witnessed some kind of a turnaround after 2004-5 actually. Anyway, we'll have some discussion on that. But as students of economics, we realize that the GSDP growth rate is not all about economic performance of a state. Economic development is a broader con content. Because in 2004-5, the state performed since 2004-5. But let me draw your attention to a report given by Raghuram Rajan, you know, that famous Rajan committee report, which came on 2013. You know the background. There was clamor for special category status by many states, including Odisha and Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, these states. And many other states also joined in the claim that we should be accorded the status of special category. Special category means there will be some preferential treatment in giving central aids, grants like that. So to address the issue on a realistic manner, the UPA-2 government framed a committee under the chairmanship of Raghuram Rajan. He was probably the economic advisor of the government. And you know, later on he joined the Reserve Bank. So his committee gave its report in 2013. And that is known as the New Development Index. We people are quite familiar with indexes, Human Development Index or Transparency Index, so many indexes. And this index was known as a New Development Index. Actually, that New Development Index is an index of underdevelopment. And that itself was a composite index by considering 10 different subcomponents. And the list is given on the slide, you can refer it. Monthly per capita consumption expenditure, education, health, housing amenities, poverty rate, female literacy, percentage of SC/ST population, urbanization rate, financial inclusion, and connectivity like road communication, telecommunication, postal communication, all this connectivity. So if you look at the aspects or the parameters which are included in this index, it is actually a comprehensive one. And in that index, where do we found our state? So you see, Odisha is found to be the, or Odisha, I should say Odisha was, because this is a thing of vast, our government says like that. So Odisha was placed as the least developed state. And it was more underdeveloped than Bihar, than Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand. These are the states. In that committee also, that committee of states, Odisha was found to be at the bottom. So when on one side we say that since 2005, the pace of growth of GSDP was higher than the national average, then another reality emerged that Odisha is the least developed state. Then how to see the performance of the state in a comparative perspective. So that is the subject matter of this presentation. So there are two objectives of the present lecture. One, we will have a macro glance of Odisha's economy in relation to major Indian states in recent decades. Then there will be a comparison in terms of indicators like per capita state domestic product, per capita consumption expenditure, then per capita income growth, then human development index, and policies related to social sector like our life expectancy, our literacy rate, all these social development indicators will also be analyzed to some extent. Students, let me tell you that the facts and figures, graphs, diagrams, whatever you will see are not my own contribution. These have been compiled from different sources. So I am simply giving you a presentation by collecting different materials through online sources. So let us start with our GSDP. I draw your attention to the slide before us. There are two parts. The top one is showing you GSDP growth rate for 4 different years, like 2005-06 to the last year is 2008-09. The gray bar is representing the growth rate of Odishan economy, whereas the yellow bar represents the growth rate of the national economy. Growth rate means growth rate of GDP. And in the state context, it is gross state domestic product. And the bottom part of the diagram, where you see some adjoining lines in yellow color, that is representing the net state domestic product growth rate. Not exactly growth rate, the NSDP per capita itself. So in the top part, what we notice that from 2005-06, not exactly 2005-06, the same year 2005-06, after that, you see 2006-07, 2007-08, the gray bar, which is representing the growth rate of Odishan economy, much higher than the growth rate of the national income, national economy represented by the yellow bar. And there was some aberration in some years, but if we fit a trend line, the growth rate of Odishan economy would lie above that. The next slide, we will see what happened after 2010-11. But before that, let us have a look on the per capita NSDP, which is presented below. You see, what is the per capita NSDP of Gujarat? It is 49,251 rupees. Other states like Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Rajasthan, their per capita NSDP was lower. That was lower. And what was the per capita income NSDP of Odisha? That was 29,464. In which year? In year 2008-09. So what is the difference that can be gauged from this diagram? If we compare Odisha's per capita income with the per capita income of a relatively advanced state like Gujarat, then it is, I think it would be around 55% of Gujarat's income. So this shows the difference. So 2 3 years growth rate, even if it is higher, you say significantly higher, that doesn't make a difference actually. Why not? As student of economics, we can give the convincing answer that this is due to the so-called base effect. Base effect means the state which started from a low base. So even if its growth performance is higher or better than the average state, it would never be sufficient to catch hold of the average Indian state or advanced state in a certain time span like 2-3 years. It will take some longer time, definitely. So taking credit that our growth rate has outpaced the national average cannot be well taken. We should maintain consistency. And here you see a rather longer period. The left part of the slide, you see that depicts the growth history of Odisha and India for the decade 2001 to 2011-12. The first decade in the 21st century is presented on the left part, and the second decade, not exactly the entire decade, majority of the second decade of the 21st century, that is presented on the right part of the present slide. Concentrate on the left part. What do you notice? Now the red line, red represents some danger, but it is not that. The red line or that red curves cycles also, that is ahead of the national average, national GDP, GDP growth rate depicted by the blue color line. So this is a line graph. So if you fit a trend line, you will definitely find that the trend of Odisha would lie above the trend of India. As yes, many of you are interested in econometrics, if you get a long series like this, you can fit a trend line with help of your econometric tools. And I would also suggest you that if you find a long series data, you can also see the cycles, the fluctuations. And this is a homework for all of you, that what could be the possible reasons for generation of these cycles. For example, in 2001-2, our GDP growth rate was higher than the national average, a bit higher. But suddenly there was a collapse in 2002-3, when the national average was much more than us. And in 2003-4, the growth rate of Odisha economy, you see that is 16% like that. So why these cycles are there? So Odisha is recognized as a leading example of disaster management. So I give you hints here. So what could be the possible reason? What kind of disasters were there? And later on you see that there is a smoothness in the curve, relatively smoothness. And now see the second part of the diagram. Now the blue color is of Odisha, and the orange one, that represents India's growth rate. And if you fit a trend, probably the trend will coincide. Trend lines of both the state Odisha and the national average will almost coincide. In some duration, you will find the Odishan growth rate or growth rate of Odisha's GDP was more and it was lesser in some years. But if we uh, see the Odisha Economics Survey 2019-20, which has come in this February, March, there is a mention that Odisha's growth rate since 2012-13 has been more than 7.5%, whereas the national economics growth rate is somewhere around 6.2%. That means Odisha is ahead of the national average at least, although there is no claim that this is the fastest growing state in the country. There are other states also. Here we can see some kind of a summarization of the growth experience of the state. The left part shows the GSTP per capita as per the 2017-18 current prices. So this is GSTP per capita at current prices. And there is categorization. There is only one state, a small state. Can you recognize that one? Whose per capita income is more than 4 lakh rupees. One state in the Western India. That's known as Goa. Other states have lesser income. And where is Odisha? In which category? It is in the category of 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees per capita income. And in that category, it is in the bottom part. And what are the other states in that category? Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Assam, Meghalaya, and Manipur. So Odisha is positioned in that particular category. And do you find any state which is in the category of less than 50,000? Yes, there is only one state, that is Bihar. And let me tell you that there is a thin difference between Odisha and Bihar. However, due to our growth performance, if we update this diagram to 2019-20 by including 1920 data, we'll find that GSTP per capita at current prices of 2019-20 has crossed 1 lakh rupees. So Odisha is no longer the poorest state of the nation as far as per capita income is concerned. It is, I think, sixth from the bottom. The other states like Arunachal, Madhya Pradesh, Assam, their per capita is less than that of Odisha. Then if we see the same in terms of constant prices, in terms of constant prices, then the right part of the diagram is there. And where is Odisha? Yeah, I beg a pardon. The correction is that the growth rate, not exactly the level of per capita income, the growth rate of per capita income, if we see that, then where is Odisha? Certainly it is not at the bottom. You see the sky color line is for Odisha. That is in the middle, our growth rate income. That means there are some states which per capita GSTP is growing faster than that of Odisha. What are those states? States like Gujarat, your Karnataka. These are the states whose per capita income is rising faster. But we should give credit to the state that it has actually performed, at least as far as the growth rate of GSTP and the growth rate of per capita income is concerned. So the state is having some performance there. Okay, to move on, let us go to the outcome of this growth. If there is growth, but your poverty rate is also rising, your unemployment is also rising. So what would you say? So nobody will welcome that kind of scenario for the simple reason that that growth is not inclusive. So we need some kind of inclusive growth. And there are many indicators of measuring inclusiveness of growth. But the simplest one is poverty reduction status. So this slide will give you some idea regarding the poverty, the impact of rising per capita income on poverty. So what is the poverty rate of Odisha as far as 2011 data collected by NSS? You know, poverty is measured on the basis of per capita consumption expenditure. And the poverty rate in Odisha is 32.6%. And there are other states whose poverty rate is higher, meaning that Odisha is no longer the poorest state as far as rate of poverty is concerned. In Chhattisgarh, it is 39.9%, almost 40%. In Jharkhand, it is 37%. Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, Bihar, in those states, poverty rate is higher than that of Odisha. But there are also states in that, Bimaru category. Bimaru, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh. So if you see, certainly the poverty rate in Bihar is higher than that of Odisha, but as regards Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Rajasthan, the poverty rate is lower in those states as compared to Odisha. So why I am mentioning that Bimaru category? Because Bimaru represents underdevelopment. That's the club of underdeveloped states. In that category also, Odisha is at the bottom. Anyway, but this data is of 2011-12. Now the poverty rate is per the official claim of government of Odisha has come down to around 19%. 19%. And that is considered as a significant improvement as regards reduction in poverty. So when we say, we read these figures, this may mislead us to some extent. Why? Now we have to see it in proper context. What was the poverty rate previously? As per the 2004-5 estimate, poverty rate was as high as 47%, 47.6% in Odisha. And in 99-2000, it was much higher. So the reduction in poverty in Odisha is much higher than other states that we can notice in one of the next slides. So all these analysis, these figures are drawn from the RBI site, from the data of Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog name was not there. It was Planning Commission in 2013. And after 2014, after September, the Australian Planning Commission was given a new name with a new role also, and it is Niti Aayog. So this is Planning Commission data. So just see the second point. The poverty rate was, I told you 47%. No, it is 57.2% in 2004-5. And that came down to 32.6 in 2011-12. 12, this is a phenomenal decline in the rate of poverty. That means the growth in Odisha to a large extent is inclusive. Then now let us see the poverty reduction as regards the sustainable development goals. The second part should be seen first, the yellow colored diagram. You see the decline in poverty is given. The sustainable development goals are there, and the first goal is no poverty. And for that, there is an index. Constant measurement is being done. This is a figure of 2019. And what is there? Arunachal tops the list, followed by Bihar and Odisha. The decline in Arunachal is 18%. Minus 18 means the decline in poverty rate is 18%. But in case of Bihar and Odisha, it is 12%. 12%. So Odisha is considered as one of the best performers in major states of India, in the committee of the major states. So we see in no poverty index that the SDG 1, so that's there. Then please see the note given below that in other goals also the state has performed. In industry, innovation and infrastructure, basically rural road, there has been an improvement by 7 points. And, in clean water, in sanitation, Swachh Bharat Mission, Bhubaneswar came as the topper in the smart cities category. So in LPG connectivity also, the state has performed. So not just in no poverty index, in other aspects also the state performed. Now coming to unemployment rate, the left part of the diagram can be seen. So two particular years have been taken for a comparison, 2011-12 and 2017-18. The most educated state, Kerala, leads in unemployment. In 2011-12, it was 6.1%. And in 2017-18, it is 11.4%. 11.4% unemployment means a very significant figure. But I should ask you a question here. If the unemployment in the state of Kerala is so high, then for which reason people from Odisha are migrating to Kerala? In that state, unemployment itself is very high. Then how come that people from Odisha are migrating to Kerala to seek their livelihood? So a question to ponder over. Haryana is a state in which unemployment has increased, but historically it remains low. In Assam, it is higher. Where is Odisha? The second from the bottom, it was 2.4%. It increased to 7.1% in 2017-18. In Uttar Pradesh, you see unemployment rate was much below, in just 1.5% in 2011-12, which increased to 6.4%. So across all states, we see one commonality is there, that the unemployment rate has increased. Please recall the discussion before 1 year, and still it is going on. What was that? The unemployment rate has touched 45 years high during this NDA2 regime in 2017-18. That was the year which was mentioned. Why that unemployment is rising, that is different story. But Odisha is like other states where unemployment rate has increased. Certainly, it is not the worst. There are states like Kerala and Haryana where unemployment rate is. But should we take some credit on this particular aspect that our unemployment rate is smaller than other states? Is it a matter to take credit in this negative happening? Certainly not. Ideally, unemployment should be zero, but as students of economics, we know that it can never be zero. Yeah, underemployment can be brought to that zero level. Anyway, so the state is not in the worst performer as far as employment is concerned. Then to look at the per capita consumption expenditure, that is the basis by which we measure poverty line. So what has happened? So what is the percentage change in per capita consumption expenditure? Which data is used? NSS data. Is there any other agency which gives consumption expenditure figure? No. This is NSS only. And 2 years have been taken. One is 2003-4. That was NSS 59th round. And 2011-12. That represents NSS 68th round. So after that, there has also been a round which has given the unemployment, the consumption expenditure figure. In every 5 years, more or less, that data comes. So we can get some sense by making a comparison of 2003 with 2011-12, one of the largest 11-12. Then what is the percentage change in the per capita consumption expenditure of Odisha? It is 152%. Is it the best in the committee of states? No. Which state tops the list? If we see 152%, I told that it's rural Odisha. In urban Odisha, what is the corresponding figure? Can you locate it? It is 133%. That means the change is faster in rural Odisha. So which state tops the list in rural spectrum? This is Andhra Pradesh. Other states are below that. So Odisha is an average performer. You see states like West Bengal, your states like Jharkhand, Assam, the percentage change is lesser than that of Odisha in rural case and in urban case also. But if you see the percentage change at all India level, it is 158. So Odisha is more or less close to that figure, that is 152 in rural areas. And in urban, the Odisha figure is 133, but the national average is 157. That means the consumption expenditure in urban Odisha is not moving it in tandem with the national average. So why our urban centers are not growing at par with the national urban centers? Maybe a question to ponder over, but that is the reality. That means urban centers in Odisha are not actually the growth engines. Where are the factories located? Are they located in urban centers? So we have to reflect in that line also. Then coming to the social spectrum, to begin with education, that's there is no other measure like literacy rate by which you can assess the educational status. Literacy is not a measure by which you can see the level of education. What is literacy? If a person is able to read and write a meaningful paragraph in any language, that fellow is literate. But reading and writing is not all. But see, literacy rate. So I have chosen 3 specific years: 1951, just after independence; 2001, at the beginning of the 21st century; and the latest census is 2011. And probably 2021 census will come if things move in the positive direction. Let us pray, Almighty God, that the present crisis ends sooner than later. So, what is the national average? National average in 2011 is 73% of literacy. And states like Kerala has achieved 94% literacy as per 2011 census. And other southern Indian states, you see Tamil Nadu, your Karnataka is not in this list, because Karnataka was not a state in 1951. Your Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, that was one state only. Anyway, so I have given figures for 15 Indian states. And here you see the literacy rate of Odisha is 72.89%. So 72.99 at national level, and it is 72.89, almost equal. Then if you see the base, 1951, what was the literacy? Just 15.8%, below the national average, that was 18.33%. Even at that time also, Kerala had 47% literacy. So the literacy rate in Odisha is rising, just like other states. But still 27% of Odias are illiterate as far as 2011 census figures are concerned. I believe that the literacy rate age of 2019-20 must have touched at least 85%. Well, that is an intuition. Then come to sex ratio. Why sex ratio is important? Sex ratio is important because of at least one viewpoint, that do we discriminate on the basis of gender? If yes, we have preference for male child, then the sex ratio will be less than 1000, and it will be disastrous. So even less than 900, like that. You see, there is a state in Jharkhand. What is the sex ratio in 2011? 879. It was 861. 871 in 1951. No improvement. What could be the reason? Is it simply the fact that Jharkhandis have a male biasness? Can there be some other reason? What is the sex ratio in Delhi? What is the sex ratio in cities? So we people are very adept in labeling charges without going to the deeper aspects. Other reasons might be there. To cite one, I can say migration. Who migrate more, male or female? If male people migrate more, then certainly the states in which urban concentration is more, there may be an unfavorable sex ratio. Then we have to juxtapose that statement in the context of a specific state. Is that state a state an urban state? Meaning that more percentage of people are residing in urban areas? Then Jharkhand will probably miss it. That is rural, like other pockets of the eastern Indian states like Odisha and Bihar. So Haryana is a state in which sex ratio is not favorable, but in case of Odisha, it is 979. But please make a comparison. What was the sex ratio of Odisha in 1951? 1022. Declined up to 2001. And in 2011, there is a slight improvement, 979. But that is higher than the national average. National sex ratio is 943. So Odisha is better as far as that is concerned. But compare it with Kerala. What is the sex ratio in Kerala? 1084. Is there any other state in which sex ratio is more than 1000? I have not listed the northeastern states here. There might be some states like Mizoram where this sex ratio, I think, is around 1000. So here we see that Odisha is an average performer as regards gender ratio is concerned. Then an important indicator of development is infant mortality rate. Infant mortality rate. Why it is important? It is important from 2 points of view at least. One, if you cannot control your infant mortality, then you cannot control your population growth. Why not? Now, if infants die, then parents will certainly go for more number of children. If the probability of death of an infant is higher in a state, in that state, population growth rate is quite obvious to be higher than other states. That's one. And second thing, your life expectancy will come down. Life expectancy will come down. Suppose there are two people in a state. One died at the age of 1 and the other person lived 99 years. What is the average year of living? It's 50. Then you can say that the probability that a child born today, an infant born today will live will be the not probability, the estimation, the expectation is that an infant born today will live 50 years. But if you both lived 80 years, then your life expectancy will be 80. So higher infant mortality reduces life expectancy, and life expectancy is more or less gives you the health status of people living in an economy. And where is Odisha placed as far as infant mortality rate is concerned? So this is a matter to be ashamed of, that the infant mortality in Odisha is one of the worst. You see, In 2017, you can see the figure, 3 years are chosen, 2007, 2012, and 2017. So 2017 can be considered as a recent one. And you see the figure of Odisha. So in 2017, it is 41. Just after two other states, one is Madhya Pradesh, which is the worst in the category of states. 47 infants die before reaching 1 year of age in Madhya Pradesh, out of 1,000 live births. And in Assam, that is 44. In case of Odisha, it is 41. So Odisha has been and continues to be a worst performer in infant mortality case. And Odisha's infant mortality can be compared with the infant mortality of the least developed African states like Mozambique, Zambia. So that is the situation. And what is the situation of the best performers in this category in India? You take the example of Kerala. So can you see Kerala figure here? Yes. See the bottom pipes. In Kerala in 2017, the infant mortality was 10. That can be compared with the best of the European countries. So Kerala is there. So why this dichotomy? One state is such a great performer, whereas another state like Odisha, in which we are comparing with African countries. So when we analyze the infant mortality cases, we have to understand another thing that is known as neonatal mortality. Let me come to that one. Neonatal mortality. You know who is a neonate? A newborn baby. It's less than 4 weeks old. And so up to 1 month, we say that that is a neonate. The neonatal mortality is the highest in Odisha. And that is equal to Madhya Pradesh. And what is that? It's more than 30%. You see, in 2017, we saw that infant mortality in Odisha was 41 per 1,000. Out of that, around 30 die in their neonatal stage. Now, up to 1 month, around 30 babies die. And the remaining 11% or 10-11%, they are unfortunate to see their first birthday. So where to concentrate? Now we have to concentrate here. You see, this red demarcation is not acceptable. If you see the India map, then Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, 5 states are in that category where neonatal mortality is higher. And you can see the infant mortality rates in these states. Certainly it will be higher. So taking care of the neonates is an urgent need for improvement in the social indicators. You know, special newborn care units are being established. And in Odisha, that is now in almost all the 30 districts. But how they are functioning, how to increase the performance of those care units, then what are our other supplementary policies? You know, government is trying. That Mamata scheme is there, and that 108 ambulance service that is there. All these schemes are now in force just to address this neonatal mortality in an urgent footing. But if you see, there are states like Punjab, Maharashtra, where this neonatal mortality is lesser. And Kerala is always a leading example in social indicators. There, that mortality is less than 10. And I saw the latest data, it is just 6. It is 6. In Odisha, it was 32 neonatal mortality. So that is a situation to take care. Then I was talking about life expectancy. That is probably the most important health indicator of an economy. And if we see the 4-year average of 2012 to 16, then what is the life expectancy in major Indian states? Here, the list carries 17 states. And where is Odisha? The life expectancy is 67.6%. National average, 68.7. So we are below the national average. Now you can relate this to my statement on infant mortality. Had we been controlled the infant mortality, the life expectancy would have been better or not? So Odisha has an urgent need to control that neonatal mortality, then that will be translated into infant mortality rate reduction, and that will also be reflected in enhancement of life expectancy. What is the life expectancy in Kerala? 75.1. Is there any other state which is a better performer? No, that is Kerala. So Kerala has been invincible throughout. What could be the reason? Now we can see, or we should see, this in the greater context. Literacy rate. If literacy rate is higher, then women literacy rate should also be seen. If women are educated, population gets controlled, then the offsprings get better education, and the work participation rate also increases, the per capita income also increases. You see the gender ratio also, Kerala is a better performer. In all these parameters, Odisha is lying below the national average. So that situation should change sooner than later. Now come to another important indicator that is known as maternal mortality rate. And you see this figure carries data for 3 different years, 2010 to 12, 2 years average, 2011, 13, 2014, 16. And where is Odisha? You see in the middle. What is the maternal mortality rate? So in 2010-12 time, it was around, it was something more than 200, which has declined. It is now below 200. But see the bars corresponding to Odisha. Probably it will be below Assam and Uttar Pradesh and another state, Rajasthan. So set aside these 3 states, the maternal mortality rate, MMR, is higher in Odisha as compared to any other state. So that is certainly not a welcome situation. Our Mamata Yojana is there. Then despite that, you see the pink bar, that is not pink, that is the purple bar. So that corresponds to 2014-16. So that maternal mortality was way ahead to 150. Probably that is given in the next slide. What is exactly the maternal mortality as per the next year, 2015-17. In case of Odisha, it is, you see, 168. Hmm. One of the latest one, maternal mortality is 168. And where is it? This is arranged chronologically. Assam, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. Then comes the position of Odisha, the fifth one in the worst category. So even the maternal mortality in Odisha is higher than that of Bihar. So this is not a situation which we will appreciate. Here, we need to have um, some intensive effort. Otherwise, we cannot catch the best performers. Uh, then all these figures, what we have elaborated so far, your per capita income, your life expectancy, your literacy rate, infant mortality rate, all these things, they have been clubbed in one particular uh, development index that is known as Human Development Index. And where is Odisha? This figure represents that of 2018, HDI of 2018, HDI of all Indian states. Then where is Odisha? The worst, you see, Odisha. Then it is uh, Bihar, Odisha, Jharkhand, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 are placed in the worst category. The HDI is less than 0.599. HDI above 0.6 but below 0.7, 0.65 is in the next category, in which West Bengal comes. Your neighboring state Chhattisgarh comes. Rajasthan comes. So there. And the top performer, that is, Kerala here. Then comes Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, and Haryana. But Odisha is at the bottom. So when you compare this to the lecture um, uh, we begin with, what? Now we say that Odisha has been a performer. It's a disaster management, that's fine. Growth rate is faster, that's fine. But has it been sufficient to be reflected in the outcomes? Here we see 2018 data. What is the Human Development Index? There we lie way below our comparable mates, other Indian states. So something to ponder over. Is it sufficient? Not at all. So now we can go for the concluding parts. What could be the concluding observations from this analysis? As I began with, that Odisha started its development journey with a low base, abysmally low base in terms of GSTP and other social indicators. So we should have a comprehensive view. We should not be parochial in our analysis that, see, governments are not doing anything. We started with a low base, but it would have been a welcome step, a pleasant state that uh, if we could have transmitted this type of ignominious performance to something comparable with the southern states, at least with Andhra Pradesh. So even up to early 2000, the state was in the bottommost category in almost all parameters of development. And the developmental journey has been faster after 2003-4. The per capita GSTP has grown. outpace the national average. And social indicators also, like your literacy rate, infant mortality rate, neonatal mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, and life expectancy rate. The state is performing. You know, you see the infant mortality before some years, it was more than 70 out of 1,000 live births, so 70 infants were dying. Now it has come down. And I saw a newspaper cutting in which the chief minister has claimed that infant mortality in Odisha has come down to 38. 38 is for 2018-19 figure. So we are doing some sort of consistent improvement in that regard, but it is still below the national average, and it is one of the lowest in the bottom categories of states. So that's there. So what is worrying is that the state is lagging behind in the Human Development Index. So if one index is to get paramount importance, that should be our HDI, not that GDP. Uh, I would argue that happiness index, but there is no measurement of happiness index in Indian context. So the next best index should be Human Development Index, and there we are not performing. The state continues to lie in the bottom category among all states. So that situation should change. Therefore, it can be concluded that the state needs even faster development. What could be the solution? If underdevelopment is there, then we need faster development as compared to other Indian states. The laggard term is not acceptable. So I end here, and I would always appreciate questions, feedbacks, your observations, whatever you like to communicate. You all are welcome to give your reviews also through WhatsApp. And my WhatsApp number is available with all of you. You can also ask the class representative, the seminar secretary, and any friend. You'll get that. Now our numbers are public good for all of you. For all teachers, numbers are with you. So I wish that you study well with deeper insights. This lecture gives a cursory view of our economy. Uh, we need to go to the deeper aspects so that we can come with some better points. No specific book can be recommended, but one book is edited by Pulin B. Nayak, Santosh Panda, and Prasant Patnaik, that is on Odisha economy, where you can find different essays covering different aspects of Odishan economy, and not much. So many books are not there on Odishan economy. So you can see the economic surveys and some official statistics, and you can also compile from newspaper and magazines to compare. You can visit the database of RBI and other such institutions like Niti Aayog. So my best wishes are always with you. You please continue your good work, and I will come back to you with a different topic very soon. So thank you, dear students. Um, Thank you.